Welcome back to Bunny Banter, the first and only podcast for everything Killer Bunnies. I'm your host Matt, here with co-host Mikey,
Hello.
and we are honored yet again to have Jeff and Jonathan as guests.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
That's very exciting. What are we talking about today, Mikey?
Today we are going to be going through a list of cards that Matthew and I have selected, and we're going to be talking about them. One of the things we're going to focus on a little bit is the artwork on the cards.
Yeah, very exciting time. Jonathan has excellent artwork full of excellent references that we'll be featuring today. But first, I believe, so London just came out, so that's very exciting. As Jeff has still yet to receive his copy, and so do we, but several people have gotten their copies.
At the time of the recording of this, I have not yet received my copies, but I'm hoping that by the time of the broadcast, I will have received my copies.
Yeah, we're recording this about 6 days early, so.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, yes, because we're all very excited to try out London and do that. Looking back at our predictions episode, but I believe Jeff has an opportunity to for listeners of the podcast to win some promo cards. Is that right?
It's not even a win situation. We're going to give away some new promo cards designed for the London deck, and that's going to be once I receive them, which I'm hoping will be within the week. I don't want to make promises. It'll be we'll let you folks do an announcement. There'll be a 2-week period where you can send a self-addressed stamped envelope right here in the offices of CTA, and we'll put a few promo cards in and send them out. We'll do it randomly. There are some rares. There are 2 rares out of 10. There are 10 promo cards being released. We're going to put them all face down, shuffle them up, and just as they come in, you get the first 2 off the deck as a way of saying thank you to the listeners of Bunny Banter, as well as the fan group, the Bunny Circle, which you can find online through Facebook, and Magic Carrot discussion group. And have I covered everybody?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. So
there you go. Once that happens, we'll put an announcement in the Bunny Circle. So that's very exciting. So today we're going through some cards. So Mikey and I have each picked out 5 cards. So we'll just get started here and look at those cards. Let me make
Which one's up first, guys?
We are talking about Viva Las Vegas first. So that's one that I picked. I really like the artwork in this card because there's so much going on in it, so many references. I'm sure I'm going to miss some here, but we got like the Carrot Top Royale, we got the white stuff in there. I'm sure there's several others. I think the yellow ball with the red stripe is even in here somewhere. I'm trying to remember where it is. But if you could talk more about the inspiration behind including all these references.
I'd like to go first on this one. I think really the quintessential piece of art on this card is in the upper left, and that sort of red circle that's been shaded so that it pops. It looks like a 3D ball. I think it's just brilliant how that was done. It's simplistic, yet it shows the geometry. Now I'm teasing Jonathan. By all means, go ahead. Talk about the artist.
So before we get started, I have to let you guys know that when I draw these images it's all computerized.
Mm-hmm.
This little 2 by 2 inch image is about 10 inches on my screen. So I can see a lot more detail when I draw it than it actually comes out. And I think there's about 20 references in here.
Wow.
We did a contest at one time, and I think somebody found a 21st, but there are a lot of different items in here. But when I started drawing it, the way that Jeff and I work with the images, he has written all the text, done all the game mechanics, and sometimes he'll say, this is kind of what I'm thinking about for the artwork, and sometimes he just says, I had a funny idea for a card title. This one obviously is Las Vegas, so you start drawing Las Vegas. And there were certain things that just lend themselves really well to Las Vegas. Obviously, we have the pyramids, which is the Luxor Casino.
Mm-hmm.
We have Wild's Pawn Shop Castle, which is for Excalibur, and so it just kind of kept falling into place. And then I just kind of went overboard and kept drawing and kept drawing and kept drawing. I mean, we could spin here. Do you want to know all the references? Can we cover them all? Do we have enough time?
Yeah, we'll go through them quickly. I like the card.
The car. Okay, so let's just start on the street. So in the street, we have 3 different vehicles that reference 3 different cards. The one that Jeff likes is the DeLorean.
Right, that's on Bunny to the Future in the
Right.
red deck.
Yep.
I knew that one.
And the other 2 are from Terrible Misfortunes. One is the Fiat, which, by the way, is a reference to Jeff's Fiat.
Right, that Fiat that's on a Terrible Misfortune in the blue deck is the car I drove in high school, and it seriously was held together with duct tape. The headlights were held in by duct tape, and it was falling apart. I should post a picture. I have a picture of me from high school with that car.
And with hair.
And with hair, yes.
Oh, we need to see that picture.
I will post that someday. I really
Okay.
will. And that is that Fiat. So I guess it's on 2 cards now.
It's on 2 cards now. And the vehicle right behind that is the yogurt truck.
Oh, that's right. The yogurt truck.
Oh, yep.
So,
A classic.
so let's go to the left of those vehicles. We've got the original Carrot Top Casino. We've got the pyramids, which appear in several different cards now. And in front of that is our Bunny Sphinx.
Bunny Sphinx, yes. Well, I think the pyramids first appeared in the Ancient Star Rod.
Ancient Star Rod.
Yeah.
Yep. And mixed into that pyramid is the mini lift. Above that, we've got the castles from Wild's Pawn Shop. And next to that, we've got
The Guardian.
the Guardian from a Star Trek episode, which was from card.
That was Bunny on the Edge of Forever. I can't believe I remembered that.
Above that is a Colosseum. I don't know.
That's the Roman,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then above that is the white stuff.
The white stuff.
And above that is Twin Peaks, which was used on several cards. Fire Walk with Me had it, and Jeepers, there's
Free
another one.
Defense.
Free Defense.
It appears in several different cards.
Okay.
Just to the right of that, still on the top, is Rudy's.
Look at that. And then the big casino.
And then there's the Royale. So going over from on the top over, there's a Casino Royale, and then there's the Igloo from
Cool Change.
Cool Change.
Oh, yep.
Yes.
And the yellow ball is next to that.
Is that where it is?
Yeah.
I can't see that. Is that? Oh,
Yeah,
there
it is.
I would have
Really
never
funny.
seen that if it wasn't for the QCC having that in the list. I would have never found
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Thank God for the QCC.
Oh, yeah.
So the purple building is kind of an original building. I was trying to come up with something that looked like the MGM Grand because originally the MGM Grand had a huge lion in front of it. And that's why we have the huge bunny in front of it.
You know what I'm thinking is since that purple building.
We should go paint the MGM Grand purple in Vegas
No, but we should put that purple building on another card.
and say that we referenced it in the future.
Into the future,
Yeah.
knowing that we were going to put it on another card.
Sure, we could go with that idea.
Well, luckily this isn't live and we can edit that part.
We're keeping that in.
I know we are. Well, I think we should put that on the. Now we have a list of things that we need to put on future cards.
Because we referenced them already.
Right. So there's a whole list of, like, for instance, weapons that one by one we tick it through. We have to put into the future cards, and we'll add that to the list. The purple building.
So left of the purple building is Kabbalah,
Mm-hmm.
his market. And if you look real close, this is a small one. Between Kabbalah and the Carrot Top Royale is the Magic Fountain.
Oh, yeah.
I almost forgot that one. And then
What's this thing?
on the bottom right, in the little corner there is, what is it? It's the statue that everybody's spinning around in, hold on, we're flipping through our books real fast. Because we can't remember card names either.
I don't know that statue.
There's a
Oh, yes, a community carrot.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't need to flip through the book.
Oh, yeah.
Community carrot. That's a good card. I like that card.
And I think the building next to it just references the steel. Did Stainless Steel come out yet?
No.
No, it was foreshadowing the Steel deck.
No, this is the pink deck, so steel would have been out by now.
Okay.
You bet. Okay.
And
And I
there's a
think I got
second
'em
penguin
all.
next to it. I just noticed that.
Oh, there is. Right there. There's a little penguin hanging
A
out.
what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I think we covered most of it. I probably missed something hidden in there really tiny. I mean, you guys found the ball, which is probably the tiniest reference in there.
Mm-hmm.
We should have put the helicopter in the sky.
There's no room and there's no sky. But
Well, we could put it up here.
But did you notice that they got the window fixed at the
Oh, they did. Look at that.
the Casino Royale? They
Although
fixed the window.
is it broken on both of the artworks though?
No, we wanted to make any card that appears twice different. That's why in the original Carrot Top Casino, one of the bulbs is burned out for one of the lights, but not on the next card.
Right.
There's for those doubles, there's always something different. So, well, at least that was our effort. I think we did it.
I think we did it mostly. And there's always some, it could be really small. Like, see, there is a helicopter in Carrot Top Royale.
Right, and one of the which
The window's
card?
broken. Is the second one.
In which card though? What number?
0305.
Yes, 0305. They have a broken window, and it also is one of the few cards that has a half die box filled in because it's optional, and we didn't really run with that that half die box filled on another card. It didn't work out well. Something we tried, but we haven't really come back to that mechanic.
I'm actually a big fan of that mechanic.
Do you like the optional?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Fits perfectly with gambler passive strategy and hidden investments neutral aggressive, which are two of my favorites.
Yes, I know. Well, I'm not a fan of passive strategy.
So in that case, the neutral
Yeah.
aggressive variant.
I'm like let's just set our course for the center of the sun and put the thrusters on full. Let's just go.
That's right.
Yeah, I would if I was in the car with Thelma and Louise, I'd have hit the gas. That's all I'm saying. Okay, do you have any other questions about Viva Las Vegas? Because you know that's a music reference.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so that's a song by is it ZZ Top?
Elvis.
Is it Elvis?
Elvis.
Oh, okay. All right, I like ZZ Top too. We've done ZZ Top references.
Yes.
Yes, we have. Okay. Any other questions about Viva Las Vegas, fellas?
Not that I have.
No?
I think we filled the whole show. Well,
Okay.
I think we're...
Did that take 3 hours to cover all that?
No, we're good. We got plenty of time here. Okay,
Okay.
so moving on to Mikey's first card,
Okay.
Mike, what do you got for
Ebola
us, Mike?
virus.
Yes.
Oh, a classic. That's
The
a blue.
Ebola virus. I was going through the cards last night, looking to see which ones I wanted, and I guess this one caught my eye. I thought it was interesting. Like, the monkey specifically interested me. But, I mean, what's the story behind this one?
Well, there's a lot of monkeys in Killer Bunnies. Go ahead, Jonathan. Go through the we have what now, 5 different monkeys?
Oh my gosh. So this was the first monkey.
This was the first monkey because isn't there like a theory that Ebola started with a monkey?
Perhaps.
And it also references, that big movie Outbreak.
Outbreak, that was it, with Dustin Hoffman. That's right.
That started with a monkey.
It started with a monkey.
So that's why there's a monkey in this image. And now, this one was not a Bajoran monkey.
No, the Bajoran monkey does appear first in Killer Bunnies.
Yes.
In the card Deep Sleep 9.
Yes.
So are you familiar with the Bajoran monkey?
I'm familiar with the card image.
Okay, so he has an earring, and it's
Oh, yeah.
and it's a Bajoran earring. It's that style, and he also has ridges on his nose.
Which a lot of monkeys have ridges on their nose.
That's true, but Bajorans have in Star Trek, and so there you go. So that's how the Bajoran monkey got started, because we had a great card name, Deep Sleep 9, which isn't even my joke. Do you want to know who told me that joke, fellas, about the title of that Star Trek series?
Who was it?
It was the woman who played Counselor Troy, Marina Sirtis. And it was the first, I saw her at a convention. It was the first year of Deep Space Nine. And she made the joke on stage. and it just sort of stuck with me. It was very, very funny, and I've actually referred to that series, which I like. Don't get me wrong, uh, for many, many years that way, and that's how the Bajoran monkey was born, and so that's this monkey's relative.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you what, that card, there's something special about that card, Jonathan. Now, you would know this, but I bet you haven't thought about this. Is it was the first card where we used the art to interact with the die boxes. So there's
Oh.
grass growing out of the die boxes, which kind of makes the card pop a little bit. And it was the very first example of that. And boy, did we run with that afterwards. Using the geometry of the card to accent the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, when he says the first time we did that, we don't necessarily do things in sequential order or in card order. So I'm looking to see if we've done that before or after. But that was
I know these things right off the bat. Jonathan has to look at the card. Going on record as saying that I spent.
It's interesting when I do look at the cards. I'm like, what deck was that in? But when I look at the card, I know, oh, that's the top left. So when Jeff and I work on the cards, there are 9 cards per page, because that's how many you can fit on an 8.5 by 11. So we do 9 cards on a page.
Mm-hmm.
So we could print them out, proof them. If you have like the Ultra Pro card sleeves, there's 9 sleeves that fit in a binder, or 9 cards that fit in a sleeve. So if you tell me a card, I can usually tell you where it appears on that grid. It's the top right or the middle or the bottom left.
That we know.
That we know.
Which deck it's in, that's a tough call.
What it does, Jeff doesn't remember.
Well, there are times I have to look it up. I agree. So
Yeah.
all right. So that's the
bunny.
that's the Ebola virus. That was I got to tell you, even though we've done a lot of cards, that card is just horrible to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
I mean, it really is. There are 2 types of people that play Ebola. One are the people that have never played any kind of card games before, but you talk them into bunnies, and they don't know any better. And then there's the ones like me that don't care about winning or anything. I just want to see how many bunnies I can kill, and it's funny, and there's no strategy to it, and just the heck with it. We're just going to throw caution to the wind.
Like last game we played last weekend.
I want to say for the record to all of the Bunny Banter fans that we had a great game last weekend, and we did invite Matt and Mikey to the game, but they couldn't come. So
It's a little bit too long a drive.
where are you folks? You're in Minnesota, right?
That's right. Well,
All right.
Minnesota and North Dakota.
Yeah.
Two
I'm in North Dakota.
days. 2 days on the road. I mean, it's each way. That's not a long drive.
Bit busy
could,
with college semester, but
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, well, okay. But the offer's open whenever you folks are in the area. We'll get a game together.
sounds
Break's coming
great.
up.
Spring break.
There we go.
We'll do a Bunny Banter live from the game.
From some beach somewhere.
That would be fun.
That would
Okay.
be interesting.
All right, so we're
Yeah.
back to the next card, unless you have anything else about Ebola.
I was going to say that Ebola virus isn't that notorious compared to some other roaming reds, since considering that if the bunny dies by some other method while it's contagious, while it's infected, the Ebola virus goes away. So there are
I have
ways
to
you can
admit,
deal with it.
That wasn't in the original rules. It did stay, and we had to soften it up a little bit. Again, for those people who collect the editions of the game, and I know there's quite a few out there that do, then I would say look at some of the earlier rule books, because Cyber Bunny and Ebola never went away once launched.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know, right?
I can see why you consider Ebola so toxic then.
Now, it's funny because neither Jonathan nor I actually have copies of every edition of the rule book that's been published. I know I should have kept them, and for gosh reasons, I have no idea why I didn't, but there are people who have every edition. I think there's about 10.
Yeah.
Or more. But to tell you the truth, I think one of the most brutal roaming red runs is the orbital missile platform.
Oh, interesting.
because it affects a player, and it's high in the air, so it's really hard to get rid of.
Well,
I
it,
don't know.
it, it does
That's a good
have the
point.
clause where if you roll doubles, it goes away.
Yes, but doubles are a lot harder to roll on a 12-sided die.
1 in 12.
Exactly. Well done on the math. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, moving on anyways. Our
Yes.
next card is one that I picked out, Athena. I had to pick this one out because, it was a while ago, but we asked Jeff what his favorite card, and he said this one because of the artwork. So, explain more on the references here.
One of my boyhood heroes
Oh,
was Dr. Zachary Smith from Lost in Space. And as a child, I just thought that he was really, really funny. As an adult, he's kind of a vaudeville actor who got into television. The original Lost in Space was done in the 60s. And a lot of the actors were a combination of, quote, modern for the time and kind of older actors from the 30s and 40s. And I thought his rendition of Dr. Smith on the original Lost in Space was hilarious. It's a tough show to sit through if you didn't watch it as a kid. It's very cheeky. It's very what's the word I'm looking for?
Campy.
Very very campy.
yeah.
But anyway, there were only a few guest villains that came back for visits to the show every once in a while. And one was this lady named Athena, and they put her in this like green leotard with
A bowl.
gold rope around her waist. I mean, you just knew the guy at the prop department had no budget, and quite literally a salad bowl on top of her head. And perhaps you'll have a picture of this for the broadcast. I don't know if you're able to do that, but the woman who played Athena was absolutely gorgeous, and she made it work. And they had her kind of on a pulley system because she floated. She didn't fly. She sort of just floated a lot and talked in this very eerie voice. And her name was Athena. And so that's that picture. But interestingly enough, Dr. Smith makes the Dr. Smith bunny is the first and only gray bunny in the game.
There's one more now. I found it. I found it when I was looking at the images.
Okay, where's the next one?
Oh, I need to find it again now. I was going to write it down, and I was like, no, I'll remember, and then I didn't
I
remember.
think we had this conversation when we made the other great
Well,
bunny.
yes, Dr. Smith did come back for another reference to the original Lost in Space.
That's
in
probably what it was.
Hades' Heyday.
Right. Yep. That's where he is. Yep.
With the harp, yes, but it's the same bunny. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to honor the actor, Jonathan Harris. I think he did a fantastic job, and it's iconic. His character is iconic, and I think, although we have a lot of time, that he will be remembered for that. And I loved putting him on 2 cards. That was great. But as Jonathan has just pointed out to me, a few of the military rank cards have gray bunnies. So he's not the only gray, but
The E9 and O9.
E9 and O9, because they're the most senior,
Oh, yeah.
we figured
Yep.
they would be the gray. So no, love the card, and the mechanic's okay. But since we're talking about the Athena card, we should talk about the Jupiter image.
Oh yes. Yep. Jupiter image appears in
We-
several cards.
It does, but interestingly enough, it is not the original Jupiter
true.
image. So, Jonathan, why don't you take that story?
So, okay. So when I joined the team, as I've mentioned several times throughout our conversations, I was about the second or third artist to join the team, and Jeff had already published 2 or 3 booster decks from his own printer. And so the Jupiter had already existed, and when we sold the game, we got the contract with Playroom, we went back and made some modifications to the cards so that they can go mass produced. And we realized that the image that Jeff had used for Jupiter was copyrighted.
It was a clip art.
It was clip
Oops.
art.
So technically you can use it, but technically you can't.
You can use it for your personal use, but not in a product that you're going to make money off of.
Yeah, something like that. So
If you didn't pay for it, which we didn't pay for.
no, we didn't pay for it. We just sort of found it. And there you
So
go.
so we had to
Well, who knew that we were going to make more than 50 of these? Remember the first run of Killer Bunnies, the A series. There were only, well, actually, technically, they're 50 copies. They're number 1 to 50, but numbers 1 through 10 never existed. And that's a whole nother broadcast. So there's only 40 original A series decks. I own one. It's not even the lowest number. I just have one.
Yeah.
Do you guys have one?
No.
No. Okay. And that's
I
where,
didn't have them.
yeah, and I didn't think there's going to be any more. We really thought that was it. 40 decks. That was it. Boy, I was wrong on that.
Yeah.
Thank God. Okay.
So, but the reference to the image, and we put it in the images that have a sky or space theme, and it's in reference to the sequel to the game,
Killer Bunnies and the Journey to Jupiter.
Sir. Which, when I met Jeff, he told me at the very beginning, we're going to do Killer Bunnies and the Journey to Jupiter, and also Odyssey. You already had that planned out.
Yes. Yeah, quite a bit of that was planned out.
And Jupiter, he actually had another artist draw the whole thing. It was done. It was boxed. It was, how many did you make of the first one?
There were 50 copies.
50 copies.
And there were numbers 1 through 10.
I have one of them.
You do?
I
Still.
do, yes.
I still have one of those too.
And I asked him what Odyssey was going to be about, and he said, I have no idea.
I had some idea, but we had just the reference. Are you killing a small creature right now, or
That is the dog barking.
That's a bark?
that
Dog?
sounds more like it's in pain.
She's in her cage and upset at something.
That's terrible. Okay.
Okay.
Well, you had to redraw the Jupiter image.
I did redraw the Jupiter image, and since we've done the Journey to Jupiter, I've drawn every planet in the solar system and a whole bunch of moons.
That's
Ooh.
correct. That's correct. Now, I'm curious to know if anyone in the audience has a card from the earliest series of Killer Bunnies, probably on the Area 51, where the image is not the current Jupiter, but the original Jupiter clip art image. Those are rare. There weren't too many published with that, but we'll see. Cyber Bunny used to have a Jupiter.
He's up there.
It's moved quite a bit.
Yeah, it's moved several times.
Moved around. So there you go.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to Mikey's next card, Quick Draw.
Yes. So this one I just selected because I thought it looked cool. I particularly like the bunny on the diving board up in the upper right corner. But also the guy in the picture looks familiar. So what's the story behind this one?
So this one's got a lot of fun stories, a lot of personal stories for me. When we did Conquest,
Mm-hmm.
we were doing Odyssey at the same time. We were doing Jupiter at the same time. We were still doing Quest booster decks. And the majority of Quest was actually drawn by our other artists.
The majority of
Conquest, excuse me.
Yes.
Was drawn by Matthew Holliday.
Matt Holliday lives up in Toronto, and he was fantastic. But we needed to hire, at one point, we had 5 artists.
For Odyssey.
Wow.
Yeah, just working on different Odyssey cards. And so Jonathan didn't really get the opportunity to draw Conquest.
Jeff wanted me to, I drew the original bunnies, the 5 bunnies are mine.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me if I wanted to draw a quick draw because he wanted me to draw me.
That's right. That's right. But which is your favorite of the second 5 bunnies?
Oh, I like Ludicrous.
Ludicrous Bunny, the flying one.
Yeah.
I like Hypnotic. That's my favorite.
You're Hypnotic. That one's pretty good too.
It is really good. By the way, for the folks who are wondering if there will be more appearances of these 5 in later booster decks, the answer is absolutely yes. There's a pink version coming out.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I believe we saw those during the 50-year anniversary Bunny Bonanza.
That's correct.
We saw
Yeah,
some leaked, quote unquote.
And half color bunnies with the new guys will definitely be out as well.
So when we came to drawing this, there are multiple references, and it's interesting that you pointed out the diving board. So the image is of me drawing myself.
Ooh.
It is a reference to a Norman Rockwell image of when Norman Rockwell, a famous painter, an illustrator, painted himself. So you can look that up, of Norman Rockwell's self-portrait. And in that image, he has several other images on his easel, of different images that he's drawn. So all these, there's 4 on this drawing that reference other cards that are either Norman Rockwell cards, inspired cards, or images that I appear in.
Oh.
So on the bottom right, there's the yellow background, that little pink bunny.
Mm-hmm.
That is from the blue deck, blue or yellow deck,
The hedge clipper.
the hedge clipper. So that was the first time that I appeared. Now, a little history on that card real quickly. It was originally an underzealous or underwhelmed or
Underzealous.
it was a little old man, and I'm like, he doesn't have enough energy to.
Oh, time out. How do you define old? Over what age is old, my friend?
This gentleman could have been your dad.
Okay.
Okay,
You may
okay.
continue.
So I talked to Jeff and I said, this guy needs to be overzealous. He needs to be too excited, and that's why he unfortunately had hurt that bunny. And so
We don't know that.
we don't know that.
We don't know what happened.
So I redrew it, and I thought, well, hey, Jeff's got a card that references him,
Based
so
on
I'm going to put myself in the card. So that's the first time I appear. The second time I appear is in Sky Waitress.
Oh, I love Sky Waitress.
So
That's a great.
I'm with Yoda, and I'm a Jedi, and the Sky Waitress is one of the waitresses from the second Star Wars movie. It's a Star Wars reference, so that's why I put myself in a Jedi outfit.
Now,
So
when you say the second Star Wars movie,
it's like
does that mean Chapter 5?
Chapter 2.
Well, then that's not the second Star Wars movie. That's the 5th Star Wars
Depends on how
movie.
you count them.
All right.
Okay. Science fiction, whatever. And then the other 2 cards, the one with the diving board,
Oh, that's a terrible misfortune.
that's a terrible misfortune.
No, it's not. That's the water card.
Oh,
Where you
the,
get
uh,
all the
yeah.
water.
It's immediately
Watering hole. Isn't that watering hole?
That's right.
You guys would know.
The diving board also appears in
I
a
don't
terrible
know.
misfortune, but that specific art is from Watering Hole.
Right. There's 2 where there's a diving board. Where he jumps in, he has the glasses. And
That's
stuff
myopic.
From myopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So this is another reference to a Norman Rockwell image, and then the last bunny, the 4th one there, is from Bunny Shop Quartet,
Bunny Shop Quartet, that's right.
which is again a reference to the original one is a reference to a Norman Rockwell famous portrait of a quartet
Mhm.
singing.
Oh.
Now, I'll admit I did not know all those facts, but I learned something every time we talk about the cards, which is fun. Okay.
I think there's some people that we've worked with that have published our game before. I'm trying to be politically correct here.
Mhm.
That were a little concerned that we were putting references in there that they didn't understand that might be considered questionable or offensive, which we've never done.
No.
But there were still concerns that we made so many references that they didn't understand.
There were many meetings where we had to kind of go through that. So,
And there's not a reference to everything, but there's still some references that Jeff doesn't know I put in there.
that's true. That's true, because every time we do one of these, I find out something new. So,
Oh.
but, there you go. All right, well, that's quick draw, and it didn't take. It was slowly drawn.
It did take me a while to draw that.
That was a long one. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Mikey's favorite card here that I picked, the Jarnac.
The Jarn, I guess.
So I picked this one because the Jarnac has basically a pilgrimage type status among the Killer Bunnies community where people like to go visit it.
does.
I love the story behind it, so go ahead, Jeff.
God.
So but now in your notes you referenced it as the chocolate deck, but this was actually one of our first promo cards.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
Promo card number 2.
It was promo card number 2. When we were doing promo cards, just for fun, and
Yeah.
they were not a collector status at the time.
No, not at all.
So we were giving these little as a promotion to promote the game, giving cards away for free at conventions and whatnot.
Right. That was the original idea, was that it wasn't canon, it wasn't going to be part of the game. Now, the first promo card we ever did was Bunnies 11.
Yep.
The art was, gosh, there wasn't anything there, but
No.
it wasn't supposed to be. And then we did the Jarnac, and I remembered because the Jarnac was originally printed at a different time. And I said to the publisher, well, we have the Bunnies 11 card. And he said, well, that's enough. And I was like, don't you want to like give out 2 different ones? And that way people, if they played in the tournaments at a con, can come back again. And it was a late printing, and I don't believe there were more than 200 original black border Jarnac cards printed. If I had to say the most rare bunny card, I would say the original promo card for the Jarnac. And, you know, cards, I may not have every set of the rules. I don't,
card.
but we have all the cards. But not every edition of the cards, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I don't have a book every time we change something in the art. And at the beginning, when things were a little haphazard, we made quite a few different editions. I believe there was Epsilon, Epsilon Delta, Epsilon Zeta, before we made the big conversion to Zeta. And don't tell anyone this, but I think there's actually. Oh wait a minute, we're on the radio.
Yeah.
So, but don't spread it around. But there are probably different versions of Zeta cards, but we're never going to change that tagline anymore. It's Zeta now forever. I mean, unless somebody else does it, but we're not doing it. But that is the rare. It's got to be the rarest card.
It's one of the rare ones, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't believe there were over. We only gave them away at one con, and then I never saw them again. So there wasn't a stack of them anywhere.
Yeah, and a little away from the Jarnac, was staying on the topic of the promo cards, is the 5th promo card, which was the
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Bunnies.
Lord of the Bunnies. Sorry.
Was that one we printed and we actually put in a magazine.
I'd forgotten that. You're
Yeah,
right. That was the first big one.
That was and that's where the promo cards really started to take off. Is that, hey, you have free little cards I can get, and also that's one of the first cards that we did a big parody of, and that's where we started doing more parodies because of that card.
I agree. Parodies weren't big in the starter deck, and then they started to creep in, and we found that people liked the cards that had references, and so the game leaned heavily that way. So, but the Jarnac.
We got to tell about this.
I got to tell the story of the Jarnac. So, I went to college at Rutgers University in New Jersey. The campus was in several different cities. It was in New Brunswick, it was in Piscataway, and I was on the Bush campus. And I was going for an engineering degree, which I eventually got, an engineering degree, electrical engineering.
Okay.
No shot there.
That's pretty. Darn it! You beat me to it.
Well, don't be disappointed. That's just the jokes I'm currently going with. No. I'm just you're not wired to understand my electrical.
I'm not plugged into your jokes right now.
I guess you're not.
Okay.
I've got a whole battery of these, but we only have an hour.
There's going to be some resistance if we keep on going. Couldn't resist.
I didn't realize you had the capacitance for humor.
Oh.
Are you still with us, Mikey?
Yes, I'm a little lost, but I'm hanging on.
I know some of these jokes are negative and positive, so.
I thought Mikey went off to take care of the dog. We haven't heard anything from the dog.
Well, Mikey's in North Dakota right now.
You're in North Dakota. I thought
I'm in Minnesota. We're on different.
Oh, fair enough.
spots, yeah.
Okay. So the Jarnac was this structure that, was on the campus. It was a statue. It's rather big. People don't get this. It really is quite tall. I think it's got to be at least 15, 20 feet tall.
Oh yeah, clearly.
And it really is exactly as you see it on the card. It looks like it was a rectangle, and then somebody cut it and then twisted the metal to make it offset a bit. And as you don't quote me on this, but I think it's called Split and Twisted.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I see you've done your research. I think it was called Split and Twisted was the name of it. And at the time, there were 3 papers that the college published, all, college-done papers. One was the Livingston paper, one was the engineering paper. One of them had a contest to name the thing. He said, we're going to rename this thing. And I submitted a name, and I called it the Jarnac. Now, the DJ sound at the beginning came from a fellow I was very good friends with in high school whose last name started with DJ. I believe it was either Polish or Russian name, and I'm not going to reveal that name because I'm sure he doesn't want the the attention. And I said, well, let's give it a cool spelling, and his name wasn't Jarnac, but it started with the DJ, and I just called it the Jarnac, and with that K at the end, everybody knows that the K sound really grabs people's attention and blah blah and all this other stuff, and so I called it that, and of course it didn't win. And it didn't win by a long shot. It wasn't even mentioned. It didn't even get honorable mention, which is that lame thing they tell kids that,
Everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner. Here, have a trophy. That's not how it worked in the 80s. And so I kind of pledged that someday I would win that contest. Now, the funny thing is I can't for the life of me remember what they did call it, what the winning one was. I guess you would have to go back and look through all those papers. Yeah. And have you done that research, man?
I haven't found anything besides Split and Twisted.
Okay. So years later, I figured, well, I'll have the last word, and I'll put that on there. But I didn't really expect that it would really be recognized. And some bunny fans started to go to the pilgrimage to find the thing. It's moved a few times since I was there on campus, but it ended up near the engineering building, or one of the engineering buildings. I believe it's still in the same space that it was in the picture. There really is a walkway in the front and the walkway the other way. And people have gone and taken their picture with the Jarnac, which I think is remarkable, and their bunny boxes, the starter.
Or the card.
Or the card itself. I have not done this, but there are pictures of me from the late 80s, sort of. Yes, with hair, Jonathan. Thank you for pointing that out again. Your day will come, my friend.
Not yet.
And I'm just sitting. I mean, the thing is big enough that you could sit on the bottom, and several people could sit on it. And I used to sit there and have my lunch or wait for class to start. And so that's really neat because one of the papers did eventually acknowledge the card. And in one of their papers, this was years ago when it came out, and I thought, well, I won. I finally got the name because nobody remembered what the contest winner was. Even I don't remember it, but now people remember it as the Jarnac, and that's just awesome. And that's the whole reason I did Killer Bunnies. No, that's terrible. But okay, there you go. That's the Jarnac. Have you done the pilgrimage?
Not yet.
If they're going to do a pilgrimage, they got to come to San Diego.
It's 2 different directions. I know you would have
we'll
to
do
go
both
east to get to the Jarnac and west.
That's more than 2-day drive from where they're at. Then.
Yeah, that's Jersey. So you got to be tough to go to Jersey. Yeah. That's
I got an office there. We stay there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, that's a Jarnac. One of my favorite cards and good art. So there you go.
Okay, we'll move on so that Mikey doesn't suffer too much here. Mikey's next card is carrots the letter K, Nick.
Okay, so this one, I don't know. I saw it was Nick and carrot letter K, and it's a Pez dispenser, and I wanted to know why.
You're pointing to me. Okay.
You get to take this one.
Okay, so when we did our Kickstarter for the deluxe edition, so at this time we had finished the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using air quotes when I say finished the game. It was built for 10 booster decks, and so we had finished. Chocolate wasn't out yet, was it?
Well, chocolate. People ask this all the time. Where is chocolate? And I say it's part of the next generation.
Yeah.
And the game ended at Onyx. Much More is the last card, 770, because
715.
715? Is that the card? Okay, I'm sorry, 715. And every time when we were originally publishing the game, there were previews on the side of the box. You'd open up the box and they'd have a card list for the next deck, and they'd list a few of the titles and much more. So it was kind of a joke that the last card would be called Much More, because we always promised that the card would come. So that was the last card, and that's why it's out of order, by the way.
Yes.
There are a
It's
few
a
times,
run.
right, there's a few times where we go out of order within the decks. We usually do the bunnies first, then the feeds, then the weapons, then the, or choose a carrots, I'm sorry, then the feeds, then the weapons, then the run cards, the special cards, very special cards.
Yeah.
And this one was out of order for a laugh, really. It was out of order for a laugh. And so when we finished Onyx, that was it. And Chocolate was really just, hey, we've got all these promo cards that were never published. We'd like to get those out because every fan should get every
promo
card if they wanted it. And then we didn't want to devalue the original promo cards because at that point in time, people were starting to collect them. There was value. And that's why we decided to publish them with white borders so that the original black ones are always the rare, they're always the valuable ones.
Mhm.
But the chocolate deck was an attempt to make sure that everybody could get every card. And at that time, we changed the numbers. So if you're a Zeta Zeta and you have an actual 4-digit number, you're in the canon. Until that time, like for instance, we put out quite a few promo cards recently with the meditation money bunny and all.
Yeah.
Those aren't technically anywhere. They're in
Limbo right now.
limbo. We're going to put all the my plan is we're going to put all the promo cards together at the end of this next series in a flavor deck called Ketchup, so that everybody can catch up.
Oh, classic. Will you be including Tear Me a New One?
Tear Me a New One is an Odyssey card.
No.
No, the promo card that was released for Quest.
Oh yes, it would be in there. All of the
Interesting.
promos. I'm sorry, I forgot that.
Yeah.
It was originally an Odyssey card. All the promos will get put into the canon, and they'll have actual numbers. Once they have a number, a Zeta number, then they're in, and then we'll have to write the rules for them. I mean, the rules right now are just whatever's printed on the card and whatever house rules exist.
Yeah.
But we'll do official, quote unquote, official rules once we get them into the canon. So chocolate, in my opinion, is part of the next generation. It goes flavor, theme, flavor, theme.
And so chocolate was the first flavor.
Chocolate was the first flavor, yes.
So that was a good tangent, but I'm going to segue that into a few things about
Well,
the Pez.
Sine divided by cosine, baby.
Okay. When we did a Kickstarter for the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition was a box with everything up to Onyx. And as part of the Kickstarter, there were two campaigns that were going on. One is that if you donated so much money as one of those levels for your Kickstarter, then you got to make a Killer Bunnies card.
Ooh.
The other campaign that we were doing was a kind of a fan favorite card. Submit your card, and we'll see, and we'll pick the best ones out of those submissions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two series for that, and Carrot K, Nick, was one of our Kickstarter supporters. And if you look on the side of the card, it was inspired by Nick. And sorry, Nick, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because it's really small. And I guess his nickname is Pez. So he wanted a carrot that looked like a Pez dispenser.
Cool.
So that's why we have Carrot Nick that looks like a Pez dispenser. And so those cards actually were part of and included in the deluxe edition when the deluxe edition was released, and were reintroduced in Fantastic.
Right. Well, they were a special series.
Yes.
So all of these promo cards eventually
got into a regular deck. So Fantastic, it's got a double entendre. It's actually the Fantastic deck because the first 24 cards are from the fans.
That's right.
Oh, cool.
That was our first reintroduction of Killer Bunnies, was the fan-based deck.
And then I love the idea with the confetti, where there's little circles and little triangles all over the deck and all that stuff. But interestingly enough, I've never heard you folks mention which of the pieces of confetti had a red stripe on it.
I have not noticed.
Oh my goodness, really? I thought it was fairly obvious.
I haven't looked close enough at the Fantastic box, I guess.
All right. Well,
I was too busy opening it and looking at all the new cards.
Before you spend the next few hours doing that, we were just kidding. But we did something similar when we did, what card was it, where we put the yellow ball with the red stripe in with all the circles?
It's in a cake batter.
Oh, it's in cake. It hasn't come out yet.
Oh.
There's a hidden one there.
There is a card coming in our next booster deck, which is completed, that has the confetti in the background.
Yes, the fantastic confetti.
The fantastic confetti, and we turn one of the confettis into a
yellow ball with red.
Yellow ball with red.
We should sell packages of confetti, Killer Bunnies fantastic confetti, and there'd be like 1,000 pieces of confetti in them, and one of them is the yellow ball with the red stripe. You can throw it and then look through it all. I bet we can make money on that.
Okay.
All right, we'll
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's a pre-order. Let's
Start up a Kickstarter.
Fair enough.
There we
I
go.
like that card. I like it. Nick is great, by the way. I guess you can Facebook friend request him from my page.
Is he in the group?
I don't know if he's on the Bunny Circle, but if you put in Nick, N-I-C-K, and then Pez, space, put a space, Nick, space, Pez, P-E-Z, on my friend list, he's there. We met Nick when he was 15.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing Killer Bunny tournaments, and then later he bought the spot for the card, and we were thrilled. And he's married now, and still plays Killer Bunnies. So we've kept in touch with Nick too. So that's nice.
And if you do look at all these cards that are in Fantastic, they do have the inspiration on the side of them, and you'll recognize some of them as fans in the Facebook group. Matt Becker is in there. Joseph Furtado is in there. Jeffrey Boston is in there with Anvil.
Well, if I may sidetrack for a moment, people always ask, how do you get your name on a card? And the truth is,
Money.
No, that's not the truth.
That would sure help, though, right? No.
No, we don't deal with that. We're the creative people. We let the publisher deal with that.
Yeah.
What we do is, if you send in an idea, and it really is good, and we run with it, we'll put your name on a card. The last one we did was there. What was the last one we did?
Myxomatosis.
Yeah, that's it. The one with the name of the bunny disease. Well, I didn't know it. And then he wrote in and said, I said, okay. And we put his name on the card. And that was really cool. The problem is that we're so far ahead in creating the game.
Yeah, we don't know where we're at right
that it
now.
could literally be years before new card ideas get incorporated in. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep going. Are you going to keep going?
Yeah, I'm keep going.
People always ask, are you guys going to just keep going with booster decks? And the answer is yes.
Because we're the Energizer Bunny.
We just keep going.
We just keep going.
Well, I'll tell you this, though. All kidding aside, we really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why we keep going. So, and as long as you are enjoying doing it, that's fun, too. So, cake batter's next. Woohoo!
Very exciting. Okay.
Is the next card Mikey's?
Nope, that was Mikey's. Next card is mine. Ultimate Chaos. So we're running a bit short on time here, so we don't need to cover every reference in here because it's quite a few. But another case where all the references are very many references in with other cards. You got the Area 51, you got the Psychic Penguin, even the yellow ball with the red stripe is in there, even though presumably by the rules it wouldn't do anything on this card.
Right.
So this was one of the fan-based cards. So Missy did this one, and we did the images for it. So yeah, it has references to a whole bunch of different characters. There's actually a reference. The bunny in the TV is
Bunny Headroom.
Bunny Headroom, and he was originally drawn on a Jupiter card that hasn't been released yet.
Oh,
So there's some references because Jupiter. We have completed Jupiter. We have 3.5 booster decks that we're not published
seen
yet.
Yeah.
And so we're actually referencing those cards that we've drawn, but no one has seen.
That's a shame. Someday Jupiter will come into alignment with the Earth, and there you go.
Yeah.
That's another podcast, though.
There you go. Once Jupiter's fully released, I guarantee Bunny Banter will be talking about it.
Yeah.
When
Well,
that day comes.
It's not a short talk. Killer Bunny's Journey to Jupiter is not a casual party game.
It's a long game. It's a fun game.
It's intense.
Oh
Really.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's more intense than an army regiment.
I've played. I can confirm from playing the starter set.
Yeah. No, when an army regiment is out in the field, generally they're intense.
Ah,
If you have to explain the joke, it's not that funny.
got it.
Okay, moving on.
I got that joke covered.
Okay.
Mikey, what's your next card?
my next card is. I gotta see what order he put it in here.
Unpleasant Pheasants.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this one.
You know it because you live up there, don't you? You live in North.
Yes, I was looking through the cards, and I've never seen this until I was looking through last night, and I'm like, hey, I know that. I was the serious.
Now, I'm always amazed at how few people know it.
Well, how many few people have been to where it's at?
What we're referring to is the Enchanted Highway, which is in Regent. Well, it starts in Regent, North Dakota, and it's a stretch of highway where I don't remember the artist's name. Has put together these huge metal sculptures along the highway, and you know they're a type of art, and I think they're fantastic. I took the road once. I didn't know you guys back then, but I have traveled through North Dakota and different parts of the country, and it's a must-see if you're up in that neck of the woods. In my opinion, the best of all of the art were Pheasants on the Prairie, I believe is the actual name.
Yep.
And I've taken many pictures with the pheasants.
Yes.
I think I actually had the T-shirt once too. I think I actually bought the T-shirt, and so there you go. We definitely a nice nod for that. And I have to admit, no one has ever written in or nodded or acknowledged our Pheasants on the Prairie. So you are the first. How far are you from the? I mean, North Dakota is a big state. How far are you from Regent Highway? From Regent, I should say, Enchanted Highway.
I think it's 2 or 3 hours away. I'm looking it up now.
We should make a pilgrimage to the Pheasants.
And take a picture.
And take a picture with the card. Yes.
It takes about 3.5 hours to get there from here.
Fair enough.
That's a little bit closer than San Diego.
Yeah.
That's right.
New Jersey.
Or the Jarnock, yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way that somebody could map out like places around the country and make a big loop, and we could call it, you know, the Bunny Tour, where you go, you take pictures with the cards, and
That'd be fun.
That'd be epic.
Yeah.
I'd go.
I would too. And at night we just, you know, we drive all day, and then at night we play Killer Bunnies every night. Now that's
Oh yeah, a full set game with all however many carrots.
We could go into a Chinese food restaurant and take a picture with the General Tso chicken and the General Tso card, and then stop at a big hay bale and just hold up the hay card.
Be wonderful.
There's the Stone Arch Bridge. There's the Sheridan Road.
Yeah, I haven't been there. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get right on that.
Oh yeah, all the mysterious places would be quite a trip.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Moving on to my next card, I picked it because I really like the story behind it. Kelpies.
Oh, this one's mine.
That
I
was yours.
get to tell this story. The Kelpies are located near Falkirk, which is in Scotland. And I'm in Scotland a lot, and I've been there every year for like the last 5 or 6 years. I'm going again this summer. Um, One of my friends, a good friend, we always try to plan road trips, and my friend Alan takes me around, and we see different things. And on this particular day, we had first gone to see the Falkirk Wheel. Now, the Falkirk Wheel will definitely be on a bunny card. I just have no idea where or when. It's one of those things where I have a list of references I want to make. There's three lists. There's references I want to make, and there's a list. Then there's great card mechanics that don't have a name, and then there's great names that don't have a card mechanic. And sometimes I sit and I just see what I can put together.
Usually when Jeff and I are out and about, we always come up with one of those.
Well, we always come up with at least one card every time we're out on a road trip or something like that. So anyway, we went to see the Falkirk Wheel first. Incredibly impressive. Then we walked to the Kelpies, which I do not recommend. Somebody told us it's a mile. It wasn't a mile. But luckily it's light till like 10:30 at night in the summer in Scotland. So we get to the Kelpies, and it is just what you see in the card. It's these huge horses' heads sticking up out of the ground.
And they're pretty tall.
They're massive. They have to be at least 4 stories tall.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're very, very, very large, and they're made completely out of stainless steel, I believe, because there's,
And they're not solid. They're kind of like, it's a patch.
It's a patchwork, which we didn't see on the card. It's very difficult. I went into the gift shop, as most people do, and I'm looking around, and blah, blah, and the woman behind the counter says to me, I was telling her how impressed I was with it, and she nailed me as American right off the bat because of my accent. And I think she took a little liberty, because she said to me, she said, "Oh, well, if you were impressed with that, did you go underneath to see the rest of the horse?" And I looked at her, I said, "No, I didn't know." She said, "Oh, there's a path you can go down, and it's underneath the statues, and the rest of the horses are underground." So I didn't buy anything at the gift shop, and I zipped right out, and I went, and I'm walking around the whole thing to look for the path that goes underneath. And it's a long walk to go all the way around, and I didn't get it the first time, and I had to go ahead and take another look. So I did another round.
And you weren't the only one, were you?
No, I wasn't the only one. There were other people.
There were other Americans.
Other foreigners.
Okay.
So they think that, well, the English are considered foreigners in Scotland. There's brouhaha. And I went back into the gift shop, and then they were all laughing, and there is no rest of the horse. There is no underground bit where the rest of the horses are. And they fooled me quite well. But if you look carefully on the card, we put like a shadow of the horses underneath the ground, so that, well, I hope nobody else is fooled by it. But watch out for those people in the gift shop, because evidently this is something they do quite often, and they get quite a laugh out of it. I mean, it's funny now. It's 3-4 years later. But it wasn't.
But after all the walking you did that day, it wasn't that funny.
No, it was. I was exhausted. Somebody will do the research. How far is it from the Falkirk Wheel? I remember we walked down a canal, lots of canals in the UK, all the way to the Kelpies. I'm guessing it has to be more than 3 miles.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
I don't have a computer in front of me, so I don't know. But it's a very long walk, and well, afterwards on the bus ride home, I was laughing, but not right away.
4 miles.
I'm sorry, you looked it up. Okay, how far is it?
4 miles.
4 miles.
Wow.
Great Scott.
And how many miles is it around the Kelpies that he run?
Oh,
I'm just joking.
No, I don't know, but it's big. It's big. All right, that's the deal with the Kelpies.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite
what's funny?
cards from Creature Features. I love how it has a great story to it as well.
If we ever reprint that one, which we should have put Alan's name on it.
Oh, yeah.
He brought me there. If it wasn't for him, well, if there's a reprint, we'll definitely put his name on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right then.
Okay, last card for today, Mikey's card. Nothing is forever.
Nothing is forever. This one caught my eye.
Except obviously this podcast, because
Yeah.
We got to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're fine. We're wrapping up here soon.
This one caught my eye. Just Beauty and the Beast, the Disney cartoon classic Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie, and so when I saw this, it caught my eye immediately. And then I was wondering, like, I kind of get the idea of how it correlates, but what was the thought process behind making this reference with this title?
It was a reference. Jeff is closing his eyes because he has no idea what we're talking about. I don't think he's seen this movie.
This was all you.
If he loses, if all the rose petals fall,
Mm-hmm.
he is the beast forever.
Oh, yeah.
And if you notice in the image, the beast is a bunny.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Yes. So that was the reference to that one.
I thought you told me it was a Doctor Who reference.
Doctor Who reference.
With roses in it.
Oh.
My goodness gracious. Okay.
Oh my.
You know, it's funny. One of the fans wrote in and who has all the cards, and they got them all recently. This is something that happens. People buy the game, they get hooked, and then like within a few months they buy all the decks and throw them in. But she wrote in. She told me she had found the game like last October, and she says, "I know exactly when you started watching Doctor Who." And she's right. I was not a Doctor Who fan until 2010. I remember it was 5 years into the new series, and it looked like it was sticking around before I jumped in, and that's exactly when the references for Doctor Who started. And of course, now I'm curious to know if any of your listening audience knows the reference behind the Mayfair Emerald, but that'll have to be for another broadcast.
I only know it because you talked about it on the
With Kathy's podcast.
with Kathy and Glenn, yeah.
Indeed, yes. Fair enough. Okay, one of my favorite cards. So, all right then. Well, we thank you so much for having us on again,
Yeah,
folks.
so that was our last card today. We're very excited to have you back on at some point for a reveal of cake batter.
We'd love to come back. You bet.
Do we have an ETA for when that might be?
I spoke with the folks at.
No. Don't believe anything Jeff tells you. Don't believe anything anybody tells you.
I have my fingers crossed for a 2020 release. That's
Okay.
what I can say. At the very latest, I would say it would be about this time next year.
Very
There's,
exciting time.
There's a few interesting things coming down the pike this year, Killer Bunny wise, and so we'll be talking about them soon. But cake batter is done, and we'll start on the next one.
It's baked.
It's baked. It's cooling.
baked,
Yes, and we'll start on the next deck soon. We're working on another project right now, but as soon as we're done with that, we'll get back to bunnies.
Okay, sounds good. Very exciting to be looking forward to cake batter. Hopefully, by the time this episode comes out, Mike and I will have received our London decks, or at least getting close to it, so that we can start playing with those and get that looking back episode going. As
Fingers
mentioned,
crossed.
as
Fingers
mentioned last episode, we will be continuing the booster review series every other episode. So then we have like these topical episodes and the alternative every other. So thank you, Jeff and Jonathan. Hope everyone enjoyed the episode today. Anything you'd like to say,
Matt and
Mikey?
Mikey.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
Okay. Well, Jeff, you want to do the honor?
Jonathan Bless.
Jonathan Bless
Whoa.
today. Whoa. Okay. Jonathan Bless.